So one leader I really admire is Dr. Nina Klein, and she was the director of the STEAM Magnet program at a middle school in LAUSD when I worked there. And she was my leader for 3 years. I think that if she took the 16 personalities test, she would probably fall into the logician category. This woman was very even-tempered, extremely matter-of-fact. She had a really good sense of humor, but she was very goal-oriented, just stuck with the facts. If we had something happen on campus, she was very good about collecting information from people, really good listener, and not quick to fly off the handle or judge somebody. She was just, she'd gather all the information, then she'd go have a talk with someone or a student or staff, whatever the situation was. So I really admired her ability to just stay level. I, on the other hand, I am a protagonist ENFJA personality type according to the test. And I can relate. I didn't disagree with any of the test results. I'm heavily people-centered. I'm empathetic. I try to develop really deep connections with people, which, I could get a little overly invested at times, which was not going to be healthy as an administrator. I could also take on somebody else's problems as my own, and so that happens sometimes in my personal life, and so I need to be mindful of that. I do need to better balance idealism and pragmatism. Did I say that correctly? I think that it's also very great that my new principal, who's going to be my new mentor, her personality type, according to the test, is logician. And so I'm super excited, just our conversation about the test and the results and our personalities and how useful this is for a school community to do this exercise together and discuss it. She was so open to that, and she spent so much time with me talking about how her results, how she's taken this test before, and how, she thinks that she's changed a little bit over the years. She didn't actually have her old test results to compare it to, but she felt like maybe she had changed. And I felt like I got to know her through this, and I feel like she was open to discuss it. She was interested in my program. She was interested in discussing it, and just being a willing participant, and I really did appreciate that. If I look at the Strength Finder 2.0 assessment that we took at the beginning of the year, it aligns with the 16 personalities, because my top 5 are woo, learner, restorative, responsibility, and empathy. So that kind of goes with that. I should add that I have hope for next year, and for having just like more staff unity, and just a healthier, more productive, collaborative culture on campus with our new principal. One quote that I really liked from the Art of Coaching Teams, from Aguilar, she says, "Leading a team requires a skill set in which very few of us have ever been trained. Being able to identify your gaps can boost your emotional intelligence, because you might recognize that the root of some of your uncomfortable feelings, like insecurity, might just be a learning gap. Learning gaps can be closed. They are not a reflection of who we are, and they don't mean we're not meant to be a leader. This meant something to me because during the PASL, which was probably besides science fair, the PASL was the first time that I really had a task with a group of teachers, and I was acting as a leader. And this quote helped me because there were times when I felt very insecure and I didn't feel very confident in the room with these teachers. From that experience, I am going to go to this question that says, what assumptions did I act on as a leader about myself and my team and the work to be done specifically for PASL? I was assuming that because I provided the data, the research, the resources, the teachers would see the value of the work and be 100% all in. And I was hoping I could influence their instructional practice through relationships and collaboration, even without that formal authority, because I knew they were all donating their time, like the after-school meetings and the extra stuff they were doing in the classroom for this project. I knew it was because, they were caring, and I also think I had relationships with them, and that probably was very helpful. I did have one teacher who was pretty much a little checked out about it, and I had to just realize that as long as I focused on maintaining a positive relationship and I provided the resources, I was inviting them to participate, I couldn't take that lack of engagement by one teacher personally. If they were checked out in the meeting, or they got up and went and did a phone call, or they, I don't know what was really going on in their life at the time, but it was going to be easy for me as a protagonist and as an inexperienced leader to take that personally. So knowing what I know about myself in a deeper way through this unit or module, I think that I can be encouraged by Aguilar's words, and I can just realize it's not that I can't do it. It's just I need to learn, and I will get there, because I'm gonna be in a role where I need to create the conditions for success, and each individual is ultimately responsible for what they decide about their participation level with that. And one last question. How does the system in which you are operating impact who you are as a leader? When I worked under the previous principal, we'll just call her Miss Paul, I felt frustrated. I was, there was really a system of her way or the highway. It was about compliance and hierarchy and outcomes, aka test scores, more than collaboration and relationship building. So, and I didn't feel supported in my PASL work with her, or the PCN work at all. And that, now kind of knowing what I know about my personality, and it's hurtful. That's why I was frustrated. I was taking a lot of it personally, and it just felt, I don't know, I didn't feel cared for. But my interactions with the new principal have really encouraged me, and it's just the few meetings we've had together have already shown me how much leadership is influenced by the environment a leader creates. Because during our conversations, she has demonstrated, like, she's been very self-aware, and she just shows a willingness to adapt her own preferences to meet the needs of staff. And she was interested in relationship building. She had told me that she is an introvert, and that, and it surprised me because, she always keeps her door open at work. And I had said, wow, okay, but you always have an open door. And she said, yes, I know, because teaching is hard, and you all need to be able to feel free to come talk to me. And she said it's sometimes it's a struggle. She also said that her communication style is different than mine, but she said her communication style is extremely direct. And I said, oh, then that must make you crazy if I come in and hem-haw around, or shoot the breeze and ask you how you're doing, and we laughed about it. And she said that she has a lot of patience, and she knows that she's very aware of communication differences. She's very aware of personality differences. She obviously paid attention to this module when she went through the principal certification program, because she talked about how she has to get out of her comfort zone, and she knows that that's important for relationship with her staff. So just that hour that she spent with me, and that was an hour, over an hour, she had a level of reflection and transparency that I just have not had that at this school before. So I'm really looking forward to next year under her leadership. So overall, it's been a really great unit, and I've learned a lot.